Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those who are not familiar with the channel or watching this for the first time, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense because we deal with everyday issues where we're trying to find logical solutions. Unfortunately, not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. Right now, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope on Twitter. Most of the people I can imagine will catch this stream on the playback, but that's perfectly fine. Now, the reason why I decided to go live tonight, and I apologize for the constantly changing of the airtime, it's just due to circumstances beyond my control. We're going to be having a discussion regarding what happened as it pertained to Roe versus Wade. And the question is it being overturned? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to share my screen. Just give me a moment. Okay. Just okay. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to read the article now. The Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe versus Wade decision, according to an initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, circulated inside and obtained by Politico. The draft opinion is a full-throated, unflinching repudiation of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitutional protection on abortion rights, and subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that largely maintained the right. Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Alito writes. Now, let me just. Okay. We hold that Roe and Carey must be overruled, he writes in the document, labeled as the opinion of the court. It is time to heed the Constitution and return to the issue to the people's elected representatives. And there is a copy of the draft. Deliberation on controversial issue has been fluid. Justices can sometimes do and change their roles as draft opinions circulate, and major decisions can be subject to multiple drafts and vote trading, sometimes until just a few days before a decision is unveiled. The court's holding will not be final until published, likely in the next 2 months. In the immediate impact of the ruling drafted in February will be an end to a half-a-century guarantee of federal constitution, protection on abortion rights, and allow each state to decide whether to restrict or ban abortion. It is unclear if there have been subsequent changes to the draft. No draft decision in modern history of the court has been disclosed publicly while case is still pending. The unprecedented revelation is bound to intensify the debate over what already the most controversial case in the docket this term. The draft opinion offers an extraordinary window into the justices' deliberation in one of the most consequential cases before the court in the last 5 decades. Some court watchers predicted the conservative majority would slice away abortion rights without flatly overturning a 49-year-old precedent. This draft shows that the court is looking to reject Roe's logic and legal protections. Okay. A person familiar to the court deliberation said that the four other Republican justices, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, had boarded with Alito in the conference held along the justice after the hearing or arguments in December, and that the line remains unchanged as of this week. The three Democrat-appointed justices, Stephen Breyer, Sotomayor, and Elena Canning, are working on one or more dissents according to the person. The Honorable Justice Roberts will ultimately vote on whether he will join a Murray written opinion or draft one is unclear. Okay. Just give me a moment. The document label is the first draft of majority opinion, includes the notion that circulated among the justices on February the 10th. If the Alito draft is adopted, it will rule in favor of Mississippi in the closely watched case over the state's attempt to ban most abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Roberts confirmed the authenticity of the draft opinion, and he said he was ordering an investigation into the disclosure. To the extent of this betrayal of the confidence of the court was intended to undermine the integrity of our operation, it would not succeed. The work of the court will not be affected in any way. Just give me a moment. Robert pledged in a written statement, this was a singular and egregious breach of trust that is an affront to the court and community and public servants who work here. Roberts also stressed that the draft opinion does not represent the decision by the court or the final position of any member on the issues of the case. The court suspect had declined to comment on pre-publication. Excuse me. Just give me a moment. Okay. Politico received a copy of the draft opinion from the person familiar with the court proceeding in the Mississippi case, along with other details supporting the authenticity of the document. The draft opinion runs 98 pages, including a 31-page appendix of historical state abortion laws. The document is replete with citation and court decisions, books, and other authorities, and includes 118 footnotes. The appearance and timing of this draft is consistent with court practice. The disclosure of Alito's draft majority opinion, a rare breach of the Supreme Court secrecy and traditions around deliberation, comes at all sides in the abortion debate are girding for the ruling. Speculation about the looming decision had been intense since December, or arguments indicated a majority was inclined to support the Mississippi law. I'm just going to read one more paragraph, and I'm just going to stop here. Under a long-standing court proceeding, justices hold preliminary votes on cases shortly after the argument and assign a number of the majority to write a draft of the court's opinion. The draft is often amended in conclusion with other justices, and in some cases, the justices change their votes altogether, creating the possibility that the current alignment adopts of Mr. Jackson's Women's Health Organization can change. I'm just going to. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to park it here. Just give me a moment. Now, I'm going to give you my thoughts about it. First of all, the fact of the matter is, this is something that has caused a great deal of controversy since 1973, when reproductive rights has become law. Okay. Now, I did do some research, and I did read the original law as it stated, and it states the following. When it comes to abortions, abortions can be performed with no limitations in the first trimester. As regards the second trimester, abortions can be performed However, there has to be certain health precautions of that nature. And under no circumstances, or in most cases, um, are abortions to be performed in the third trimester. Now, what has happened after Roe v. Wade was passed, there have been changes as far as reproductive rights, providing that abortion can be performed at any time during the pregnancy. Now, the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to lie. As a person that's pro-life, I was happy with the decision. However, the more I think about it, it has other implications as it pertaining to other landmark decisions, which is if they can reverse Roe v. Wade, they can also revert Brown versus the Board of Education. They can also revert, eliminate interracial marriages. They can also eliminate same-sex marriages, and it can have a chilling effect on many of the. Let's see. I think there's a comment. Yes, Melanie, and I thank you very much. Good evening. It's good to see you in the chat. Now, as I stated before, I think both pro-choice and pro-life people are going to be upset with me what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Now, when it comes to the issue with reproductive rights, okay? Let's see. Yes, thank you very much. It can be very heated. And to be perfectly honest, there's been a lot of heated rhetoric regarding those who are in favor of reproductive rights and those who are pro-life. And what we need to do is to recognize, okay, good evening, Fulana. It's always a pleasure to see you in the chat. What should be the approach is do whatever we can to limit to reduce the number of abortions, and what we can do is, there are many means of birth control that people can use. Meaning, if you're going to engage in sexual activity, then what you need to do is make everything possible so that, unfortunately, you don't end up being pregnant. And that's a responsibility that both the male and the female need to share. Because unfortunately, what some men do is they place all the responsibility on the female when it's the male responsibility as well. Because the last time I checked, it takes two people. Okay, let's see. Yeah, exactly. The fact of the matter is this: if you're going to engage in sexual activity and you want to avoid pregnancy, then you need to use all the devices that there, and there's several devices. I mean, there's condoms, there's diaphragms, there are the IUV, there is the pill, there's many things. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I'm not an expert on this subject, but there are many ways that you can avoid unwanted pregnancy. Of course, the 100% pure way to avoid it Okay, now let's just take a look. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Now, of course, the only 100% way to avoid unwanted pregnancy is to not engage in sexual activity. And if you say that today too many times, people look at you if you have three heads. But the reality is this: we have people who engage in riskful activities. Now, a lot of people are focusing on the fact that there was a leak, that this information was leaked. We need to get past that. And we need to focus on what can happen with all the landmark decisions. Now, of course, there's going to be protests. There's going to be protests by those who are in favor of reproductive rights. There's going to be protests from people who are pro-life and things of that nature. And protests are fine, okay? But what you also need to do is you need to hold the people who represent us in the House and the Senate accountable. Okay. Now, one sad effect of all of this is that the Supreme Court has gotten too political. Okay. Instead of trying to find people to apply the law accurately and to be as a check and balance, it's become politicized. And there are people who are in favor of removing the possibility that judges could serve in the Supreme Court for life. But basically, that's not going to happen anytime soon. And one thing that we need to bear in mind is that it's very easy to point the accusing angel and what have you. And the fact of the matter is, for a woman to decide to carry the child to birth or to end it, it's a difficult decision. Now, I knew a person, she became pregnant at age 40. And of course, it's considered a geriatric pregnancy. And the doctors had advised this person to have an abortion because of the risk involved. This person, after considerable, thought and thinking and prayer, decided to carry the child to term. Okay. The person that made the decision was my mom, but that was her choice. And when everything is said and done, we have to respect the choices that people make, even if we disagree. Okay? We can disagree, but let's be respectable. Now, one thing I do have a problem when it comes to the people. Okay, let's see. Yes, I agree. Now, like I said, I'm personally myself, I'm pro-life. But I have known people women who, for reasons that they felt necessary to have an abortion. I don't condemn them. I just simply, realize that they made a decision, and they have to, they have to live with it. Exactly. Okay. So, unfortunately, we make it, we make it sound like it's like an easy decision to make. And one of the problems that I have with the pro-life people, being that I'm pro-life, okay, we concerned about the unborn child, but yet we're not concerned about the unborn child once the child is born. And this is my personal opinion for whatever it's worth. If we're going to compel anyone to carry a child to term, whether it be a single mom, whether it be a teenager or whatever, then we need to be prepared to help support that child. Now, this is where I break company with the pro-life people, because most of them, unfortunately, they do not care about the child after the child is born. I'm one of those few people that do. And the fact of the matter is, there are certain areas where pro-choice and pro-life people can agree on. We can make sure that there are, there's proper sexual education that's available. We can agree that there are devices that are made available, other than asking people to abstain. But the more I think about the decision, the more I have to think about what's going to be next. Now, what's going to be a logical consequence that if this does Roe v. Wade becomes overturned? What's going to happen is you're going to have people in states where abortion is illegal. They're going to go to other states to try to obtain an abortion. So what's going to be the next course of action? The next course of action is you're going to have those same states that are going to prohibit the residents to go to other states to have an abortion. And then I shudder to think what's going to happen. Now, I'm going to make the pro-choice people a little bit upset in this fashion, which is under the original law, abortions were perfectly fine in the first trimester. Abortions were permitted under certain condition in the second trimester. And under the original, no abortions were permitted except at high risk in the third trimester. So after Roe v. Wade, those who are in favor of reproductive rights expanded it to the point where anyone can get an abortion, even once the child has reached full term. That's my personal take on it. I have a feeling some people are going to disagree, and that's perfectly fine. You can disagree. I'm going to ask that after the stream, if you want to make any comments, to please enter them. What I do ask is please be respectful, because if you enter vile and disgusting comments, they're going to be deleted, and that's a fact. I would suggest that we need to hold the politicians accountable. And whenever anyone is running for office, whether it be for Congress, senator, assembly person, state senator, or even dog catcher, take a look at their platforms and see where they stand. And we cannot be tied down to a party, because when you think about it, the Democrats are no good, the Republicans are no good. they're both basically two sides of the same coin. So that is my take on the subject. So we will see what happens. I would suggest that you spend less time worrying about the leak and more time worrying about, are there any other presidents that are going to be reversed? Are we going to go back to the days where separate and unequal education? Are we going to go back to the days where we had water fountains based on race? Are we going to go back to the days where it was illegal for interracial marriage? These are things to think about and to consider. Now, I know most of the people watch it on the playback, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to ask everyone, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, okay, let me see what. But you know what, K-Fit? One thing to bear in mind, let's not worry about the league. Let's worry about, are there other rights that could be taken away? Now, like I said before, I know a lot of pro-life Christians, whether it be Catholics, pro-life Catholics, and evangelicals, are rejoicing at this whole scenario. To my Christian brethren, I would say, before you start celebrating, be mindful what other rights can be taken away. Now, I'm not in favor of reproductive rights. I'm 100% pro-life, but we have to take a look what are the consequences of these decisions. Yes. Good evening, K-Fit. So what I'm going to do is before I end the stream, okay. Yeah. Like I said, we need to be involved. The days where we can just not to bother and get involved in politics are long over. We need to be involved. Now, let me just let everybody know. Now, tomorrow night, I'm going to have a live stream and I'm going to conduct another interview. I'm going to be interviewing Sutton Senton. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with her, she's a person, she has a YouTube channel. In fact, the person that introduced me to her was K-Fit Now. She has a channel where she makes all types of soaps and whatnot. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I hear you. So I'm gonna be interviewing her tomorrow. I will be live. Okay. Yeah. Believe me, I'm waiting for the interview. I'm waiting the interview as well. It's going to be 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Central Time, and 5:30 Pacific Time. Okay. And of course, I'm going to be asking a series of questions, and I'm going to encourage those who are viewing, who view the stream tomorrow, to ask whatever questions. And we're going to learn what she's about and what are her future plans. Let's see. No, by all means, thank you very much. Thank you. I would appreciate it. So that's what's happening. Now, Sunday, what we're going to do is we're going to have a special stream. It's a shout out to the mothers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be giving you some reflections on the role of motherhood and just something to consider. Also, to be perfectly honest, Mother's Day is becoming bittersweet for me because some of you already know my mother passed away 2 years ago. So it's going to be another Mother's Day without the physical presence of my mom. But she lives in my heart. So I just want to show my appreciation to all the oncoming folk. Because of you, I now have 60 subs. And it's because of you that I have the success that I have. So I really do appreciate all the support that you've given me. Um, so that being said, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, when I do prepare material, you will be notified. So let's see. Thank you, Molena. I know she's with me in spirit. Thank you. So I'm not gonna lie. When I do it, you know, on Sunday, it's going to be a bit emotional. I didn't do one last year, but then again, I didn't have a channel last year, and I know Denise did a special with honoring mothers. I did appear, and I couldn't, but I have not watched it since then because I'm still dealing with the fact that my mother's not here with us physically, but she's here in spirit. So, that being said, I'm going to end this, and I'm going to end it the same way that I always do. Do not let the errors of the past damage your future. And we must do everything possible. Let's see, wait a minute. I think we have one more comment. Excuse me. Okay, oh boy. Okay. I'm gonna have to, oh, dear Lord. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh dear Lord. Just when I thought I can go through one. Okay. Okay. I apologize. It does. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, good night, Kfit. You know what? Let me. Okay. So that being said, do not let the errors of the past affect your future, and we must do everything possible to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and nested insanity. That being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense. Take care, good night, and peace out.
Be strong.